In the last video, we revealed how the Legal Services Board authorized questionable billing practices, allowing millions of dollars to be charged without scrutiny. In this video, we reveal something even more disturbing: how they target individuals, dismantle their livelihoods, and employ both overt and insidious tactics to break them. This is not regulation. It is lawfare calculated to inflict oppression and vilification. Thomas Flitner is a veteran lawyer who built and ran a small suburban law firm in Greensborough for over 20 years. Years ago, he faced disciplinary action brought by the Legal Services Board. He challenged the decision through the courts, and the Court of Appeal ultimately ruled in his favor, finding that the sanction imposed by VCAT and sought by the board was manifestly excessive. He even won a costs order against the board, around $80,000. However, instead of moving on, the VLSB appeared to look for reasons to retaliate against him, placing him under intense scrutiny, which Thomas describes as relentless regulatory pressure. That pressure culminated in October 2023, when without warning, two men, Gordon Cooper and Nick Curran, entered his office while he was unwell at home and announced they were taking over the practice he had built over 2 decades. His staff were instructed to leave the office, cease all communication with clients, and refrain from speaking with Thomas. For Thomas, it was a complete ambush. He hadn't been served with any documents beforehand. He wasn't allowed to seek any clarification from the VLSB or even an injunction from the Supreme Court. What followed was devastating. Thomas faced professional and financial collapse. Clients were left in the dark, files were sealed off, and damaging rumors, unproven and unchecked, began to spread through the legal community and even his personal life. The sudden loss of his life's work took a heavy toll. Struggling with the impact, Thomas developed serious mental health issues that left him unable to return to work. When he sought to rely on work cover, Curran first denied his employment status, sabotaging his claim. Then he was later confirmed as an employee, only to be terminated immediately, with Curran disclaiming responsibility for any entitlements. In a powerful letter to the Victorian Legal Services Board, solicitor acting for Thomas, Stephen Walters accused the board and its appointed manager, Nicholas Curran, of deliberately destroying Thomas Flitner's law firm. Here's what he complained. The firm was shut down without notice. All staff were abruptly terminated, leaving clients stranded. One employee was so traumatized she had to leave her home. Client emails were blocked, including Mr. Flitner's personal account. Office computers were seized without legal authority. No effort was made to manage the practice, only to wind it up. Clients were reportedly told to go elsewhere for legal help. Important client files were withheld, risking serious harm. The board ignored repeated offers for an orderly takeover by experienced lawyers. In contrast, Flitner and Walters proposed a straightforward solution: let them manage the firm, keep staff employed, and protect every client's rights. Their goal was simple: to preserve the firm and support the people who depended on it. However, instead of collaboration, they faced silence, obstruction, and what Walters described as a reckless abuse of power. And what happened to Walters after sending that letter? You can probably guess, but we'll come back to that later. After the Legal Services Board appointed Nick Curran as external manager, Thomas Flitner tried to sell his firm. He had a genuine buyer, his lawyer, Stephen Walters, ready and able to pay. Thomas informed the board, but they refused. No reason, no process, just no. Instead, they handed over the business he had built over 2 decades to De Maria Associates for nothing. He wasn't bankrupt. He wasn't struck off. As he put it plainly, they just took it. That's not regulation. That's theft. The manager was installed on 23 October 2023. Just 8 weeks later, on 22nd December, the takeover was quietly announced on another firm's website. In that short time, the Legal Services Board shut down the sale, ignored the qualified buyer, and transferred the firm without notice, without terms, without any justification. Unable to have his grievances heard by Victorian oversight authorities, the courts, and the Victorian Parliament, Thomas worked with other individuals who were also oppressed and vilified by the Victorian Legal Services Board to form a support group. Intent on holding the board accountable for its haughty disdain for the profession and contumelious disregard for the rights of lawyers and their clients, they began collating evidence of the rampant corruption within the VLSB. After coming across our publications about the VLSB on various social media platforms, this group reached out to us for a platform to have their voices heard. After carefully reviewing the evidence they presented, we interviewed members of the group to help them expose the truth about their persecution by the VLSB and the failure of the courts and oversight bodies to provide relief.